Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and for a long time now, a very long time, I have been talking about what is known as manufactured terror. Now, there's a new film out there. It's called The Day Shall Come, okay? And I had seen some previews for it. Basically, in the background, I didn't watch the actual trailer, but it'd come under my radar. I got put onto an interview that was done on European television with the writer and director of this, Chris Morris, who's dealt with really controversial topics in the past. Now, what's amazing to me about this film is that it's openly about the FBI kind of setting up this person as a terrorist when they are clearly not. And it's something I've been talking about for some time, but for him to go on television and say that the FBI is the largest recruiter, let me repeat this. He goes on, we're going to play this whole clip, actually not the whole thing, but we're first going to show you the film, all right? It's called The Day Shall Come. I'm definitely going to be watching this. And it's based, it says, on 100 true stories. But when you get into it, the FBI, according to Chris Morris, has now been caught over 300 times. And this is the gentleman. This is his other work in the background, so you can get an idea. But he's not wrong. Manufactured terror is a very, very real thing. They find these people who are in desperate situations, and they bring them along through assets who also need money to their plot lines that otherwise would have never, ever existed. And you can watch the trailer here. It looks like a pretty good film, but The Intercept did a really good article on this as well. Now, I want to just break right in to everything this gentleman has to say, because there's a lot to talk about here.
Is one, who is the biggest recruiter of terrorists in the USA? And two, what would you do if you were broke, about to lose your house, and someone offered you 100 grand? And that's really, the answer to the first question is, rather surprisingly, the biggest recruiter of terrorists in the States is the FBI. Mm-hmm. And the answer to the second one gives you the clue as to how our story works. Because the FBI have accidentally, it seems, developed a system which works rather well. And the system is...
Let me just stop that right here before he exposes what this system is. I don't think this is any accident whatsoever. Now, he invokes 9/11 in this a lot, and I think that is important. But we have to remember, in 1993, in the first bombing of the World Trade Center, it was an FBI informant who was working with two special agents, right? And his name was Ahmed Salam. He's the one that was given the bomb-making materials by the FBI, and made an actual bomb, or that plot doesn't happen. So to me, a lot of this, at least in the upper echelons, is by design.
They make up a terrorist plot, they find someone to try and carry it out, and they arrest them for doing that.
And then get the kudos for having fought the Great War against terrorism.
So this is a journalist, an old school journalist at the end. I let him cut in a couple of times because, you know, he says something very obvious in one-liner there, that they're reaping the benefits. And now he's going to go over what some of these benefits of these FBI setups are.
Well, they get all sorts of things, really. I mean, it's quite complicated, but I guess the essential element of our story is that these people are not terrorists, but the government ends up putting them in jail
for very long
as if they
terms.
were. Yes, 25, 30 years. And there's a close to 100% conviction rate in these cases.
Let me just stop that. There is close to 100% conviction rate in these cases. And it gets very nuanced because he not only talks about this administration, but he also talks about the Bush administration. And what I really like about what he has to say is that he also says, hey, by the way, the FBI are never the good guys, but we'll get there because the numbers are astonishing.
And I wasn't looking for this. I wasn't aware of this. I mean, I think we all sort of have a vague idea that the FBI may be involved in setting people up. But then when you follow the story that I did and you see it close up, it's jaw-dropping.
It's really shocking and very, very hard to believe.
Not so hard to believe if you've been following this for some time. Again, This is old news. You look at even the Oklahoma City bombing. So we talked about the 1993 bombing, the 95 bombing in Elohim City, and the obvious connections of different intelligence groups to McVeigh and where he was staying.
And yet the statistics, once you lay them out, are quite extraordinary. I mean, we're talking about 100 incidents of the FBI doing this, 100 known incidents.
More, actually, more. Yes, I mean, I say it's based on 100 true stories. That's
Yeah.
a sort of notional 100. It's in the right ballpark. It's more likely 300.
More likely 300 setups of terrorism. Vanessa Stuller, thank you so much. I will keep up the good work. We appreciate the super chats. But here you have a film director. I believe this is for Channel 4. I'm not sure if this is going to get international distribution, but I'm going to try to check it out. The day shall come, saying that not 100. This is based on 100 instances, but ballpark, it's more around 300 or more instances of FBI setups to make people look like terrorists. Think how dangerous that is. These are the people that we're supposed to trust in the Epstein investigation?
But
300 times, the FBI have managed to pin a crime on essentially innocent people who were just part of some casual grouping, who they trained to be terrorists and then arrested and jailed.
yes, if I may take the FBI's side for a second,
I like how he even spins it to why this is beneficial to the FBI themselves. Here we go.
it sort of works like this. You're freaked out by 9/11. You have to cover yourself because you're implicated in some of the sloppy procedures that led to 9/11. So you talk the threat up. You say there's a sleeper cell in every city, and then you go and find it. Now, you don't know what you're looking for. And classically in the FBI, you talk about other people. You look at brown and black people because they are more likely, you think, to be a problem. And if somebody sticks their head up in one of those communities, then you surround them with false friends.
Now, here's the thing. I don't think that they're going there because they fit the description. I think they're going there because they're more vulnerable. And they're in, like he said, Muslim communities, the stir after 9/11, even in 93 with the bombing. But as I said, 93, 95, in those cases of terrorism, the FBI's fingerprints are all over them as well.
Informants who will offer them money and friendship to try and lure them along a sort of carefully scripted program of self-incrimination, which results in that person going to jail. And you will say to the court as a prosecutor, is it better that this person goes to jail or that we let them go back out on the street? And the juries always say, better put them in jail. I mean, in real life, what happened was that there was a story on British TV news about supposedly the biggest plot since 9/11.
So again, now he's talking about the media in Britain promoting a plot that was supposed to be the biggest plot since 9/11. And this is the real world thing he based some of his film on. Listen to this.
About an army planning to launch a full ground war on the US.
Oh, I'm pretty worried about that ground war on the U.S.
Based in Miami. And it turned out 3 years later, I bumped into somebody involved in the trial who said that ground war was actually 7 construction workers who were going to ride into Chicago on horses.
Horseback. They were going to ride on horseback to Chicago from Miami. That's the Army. It's 2019.
This was not a really serious terrorist plot. They had just been wound up by an FBI informant. They had no money. The informant was offering a lot of cash. And so they riffed a crazy scheme to try and get this guy out of money, to try and take money off this guy.
And that's what happens more often than that. These very poor people think they're going to grift and just rob the FBI informant, not knowing they don't have the wealth they say they do. They tell them they're going to do all these things to try and get more and more money because they're poor and they're low-level criminals, and they think they have the best grift going.
So that true story and loads of others informed the story within the film, which, yes, in that case, in the Liberty City 7 case, which was the guys with the horses, 6 out of 7 of them were Haitian Catholics.
Well,
And that's the other thing. I wanted to point that out. They were Haitian Catholics. Remember, this is a big Muslim terror thing. But If you look a certain way, you act a certain way. And here's the thing. The expansion is coming. We all know it's coming. All right? The fact that the FBI leaked that document where it says now conspiracy theorists. Oh, am I a conspiracy theorist for playing this and showing you the facts and the statistics? Am I bad? Am I a terrorist now? I don't even know if I can say that word. It's such a naughty word.
As a journalist, having watched it, obviously my immediate reaction was to go and look up the figures, try and see what else I could find. And it is incredible that this has happened on such a scale.
Now, again, have you not been paying attention the last 18 plus years, really even before 9/11? Before 9/11 was really the fear-mongering that we've had these low-level attacks and terror became the new mantra. Before that, by the way, if you were around like me, it was Russia, Russia, Russia. Now we've got a nice little mix, huh? It's Russia, terror, Russia, terror, Russia, terror, Russia, and terror. It's funny how that's worked out. A little bit of China on the side.
And you begin to look at American justice and say, how has so revered a system as it is in America itself come up with an incapacity to spot the...
I'll tell you why. Because it's all about PR, public relations, and brainwashing. The infotainment system. The fact that we now understand and believe through every medium that if you have enough money, you can do whatever you want. You get away with whatever you want. You're not treated the same. And the FBI at the upper echelons, okay, it's there to cover up large-scale crimes by the deep state. Peter Dale Scott, he's the one talking about that. Parapolitics, the real deal. Amy Dye, thank you so much for the continued support and the super chat.
The rod that's being put before them.
I just think there's no will to examine it. I mean, I think that once George Bush said you're either for us or against us, there was a kind of division in American society between us and them, which had always been there, but it was somehow legitimized by the government. And the FBI acted on that same impulse. If you think of that George Bush statement, for us or against us, you legitimize a divide in society right there. Now, Donald Trump comes in 16 years later and exploits that divide.
And let me say something right now. I like how he says this, because that divide, he's right, was kind of always there. The people that were like pro-military, hey, we should go into the Middle East. We should bomb it till it's glass. Till it's a glass pile. The whole thing. That was always kind of there. But after 9/11, that was big time legitimized. Alice Cersei, thank you so much for the super chat. So much legitimized. And really, now it was pushed even further. It wasn't just a small sect of the society, maybe the right wing, maybe those neocons we're talking about that had been around. No, now it was a lot more people.
It's not the only thing. There's all sorts of other kind of destabilizers involved. But I think that once you polarize society that way, and it sort of happened with us after 9/11, that there was this kind of suddenly you've got a new other. And it seems to me that the thing to ridicule is that tendency. For example, if you look at Trump, suddenly the FBI were momentarily the good guys because they might bring him down. No, they're never good guys.
You know, if you watched the tinfoil hat cast in the 2-year anniversary of the Las Vegas incident, I'm going to do a Las Vegas anniversary video today as well, kind of breaking down what I was talking about on the tinfoil cast. I ended it with, if we can learn anything from that incident, is never trust the FBI. There's yet another cover-up where they didn't tell us everything, where they definitely hid large aspects of this case from the public. And I like how he says, look, how did the FBI, how did Mueller become great? He covered up 9/11. We know about Operation Vulgar Betrayal. They knew how the money moved prior, right? But now he's the hero taking out Trump?
But his technique fooled everyone into sort of a moment's mistake. Oh, suddenly the FBI are the good? No. I mean, it's like with Nixon. The FBI instigated the Watergate inquiry. It didn't make them the good guys then. They were up to their necks in COINTELPRO.
Oh, up to their necks in COINTELPRO. Loving it. Loving it.
So Trump's move is to confuse people, yes, but you've got to stick to what's actually happening. And I think that, yeah, you need to take notes pretty fast right now.
Yes, you do. And guys, if you want to see that whole interview Just type Chris Morris in. It should be like the first interview that you see. He had a lot of great things to say. The film I'm going to watch, I may even do a review of the film because, once again, you got somebody on television with a well-respected journalist talking about the open corruption of the FBI, that they are the largest recruiter of terrorists in the United States since 9/11, hands down. We have all that pre-9/11 information. Please go watch my film, Invisible Empire, if you want more. It is a very important film. It's one of 4 that's available for free on this channel in the playlist section under documentaries. It gets into that manufactured FBI terror pre-9/11 and then obviously post 9/11 as well. If you like this video, thumbs it up. Share this channel with others. Join the Burmist Brigade if you are new. We're doing 3 to 7 of these bad boys a day. And forget about just ringing the bell. Star this, come back. Really important video about Snowden, Epstein update yesterday. Good talks with Robbie Martin of MediaRoots.org about Joe Biden, the upcoming election. Great video, I thought, on NASA, Lockheed Martin, Brad Pitt, and much more. And we're pumping them out. So again, thumbs this up, share it with others. And today is the first day of Media Month 4. Yes, we have done basically 3 full months. It was in the beginning of June that I started to do this channel full time. And it's only because of you guys that I'm able to do it. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. If you can contribute, I totally love you guys. All the super chats, they help. And if you can't, just share the channel. I totally get that too. 5, 10, 15 means the world to me, but you do too. And with that being said, I'll be back on the flip side later. Thank you again.